It's Christmas. It's the exchange at Gateway where I've been trying to get help for 5 months or so, 4 or 5 months from the local police and 911 calls. Just showing now one of the reasons that we may be having issues as far as fire safety here. So it's supposed to be for low income, disabled, those type of things. So you have a staircase for an exit, this, and an elevator. These are, I guess, fire safety doors, so someone could potentially like wait there, I guess, is the idea, and maybe break them out the window. But I know that they're building a new building that was supposed to be part of this development. They were gonna renovate Pioneer Park, but they never did. They actually tore down one of the historical buildings, and it's been probably 5 years or so. No, it's been longer than that they've been working on that project or not working on it. So it looks like they're finally getting stuff done, and I'm concerned they may have been taking life insurance policies out here on residents or trying to push us out, which would explain why we've been poisoned and burglarized, and the management company's changed a couple times. I don't know if that was due to bankruptcy or liability or what's going on. The developers and investors may be part of a plan to either push out or kill residents for profit. But that's it. There's the two elevators, the one there, the one here. The camera, they said there's no cameras in the hallway, but they said they do have cameras, just not in the hallway, which I found kind of strange. Here's all the people in the red zone. That's kind of new. Here's where the new development is going. There's the park they were supposed to renovate and the fire department. Here's the train that passes by where I suggested they put a pad so they could have a platform there for a stop. Would make it more efficient if it's supposed to be transportation. This one, there's no window, so if they use this as like a fire door, there'd be no way to rescue them if the elevator wasn't working. There's only the two elevators, and those, when we first moved in, used to break all the time for the first few years. Seems like recently they've been working, but I believe if they lose power, there'd be no way to get anybody out, as far as handicap, wheelchair bound, that type of thing. My wife died here unexpectedly in the parking garage. They said due to an asthma attack. And now with us being burglarized all the time, the police not taking police reports, us being crowd stalked and framed for something, or somebody trying to implicate us in something, I became aware or worried about that, her death may have had part of or something to do with them trying to cover up whatever's going on. They said that there was an electrical signal to her heart, but they didn't ever use the defibrillator. And I kept asking that they help and explaining that we had kids, my son and my stepson. And the bus station here we live next to, somebody was shot. I know that there were protests over that. Somebody lost their life there, I forget the man's name. But they said that there was something with a gun, but I know someone was shot and killed there. And I know my son's grandmother works with the courts, the children's courts. The police have been refusing to help us and take reports, and ended up abducting my son and then giving me a paper with false allegations. So I'm also concerned for his half-brother's life and safety. I'd reported that a couple months ago, asked about like a well-being check. His school, he said that the principal has a big dick, which he did say was an expression. But I went to the school to report it and voice my concerns after they had failed to contact me for several months. So they stopped contacting me since March. And in the end of November, beginning of December, I started going in to try to find out what exactly was going on, and that he had complained about the administrator being the principal and other students carrying knives. And I didn't want to create problems for him if it was a false allegation. So here's the stairs. So I just let them know that he'd made allegations against administration. I thought that they could look into it or investigate it, but now I fear that there's, child molestation or abduction. And when we ever went back to the school after they failed to help me with the online learning because we weren't getting emails, we were being spoofed and hacked, I told them, phone stolen. When we went there, it worked on their Wi-Fi, his school computer, but they staged an incident. So they had like a girl come in and throw herself down in the office floor. And when I got there, I tried to speak with the principal. He didn't answer me, and it seemed like right afterwards, like the girl threw herself on the floor and we were trying to talk to them. And then whenever they called for help, I would have called, but they blocked my 911 calls and not responded. So I waited to make sure everyone was okay. And the fire department showed up, but no ambulances or anything. And Mr. Hansen, the vice principal, who I believe placed false abuse allegations on us before, and the one that I went to speak with about my son making the abuse allegations against the school administration, and that other students may have felt threatened carrying knives, whatever. He came out and he said that he had been to our home. And I found that concerning, weird. I didn't know there's no reason he should be at our home and has no right to enter our home. But, so here, on the first floor, the only way for people to get out would be to the courtyard if the elevators weren't working. And so I suggested maybe they when they built it, that the thing to do would have probably been to put all the people in wheelchairs on the first floor, and then they could at least come out to the courtyard, but they didn't. So the people weren't arranged to live that way. So if the elevators weren't working, they'd have no way out. And so here's the courtyard. Really nice. I was excited when I moved in. My son's outgrown this stuff, but it's nice to have. And I was really grateful and happy when we moved in. Met my wife here. They were neighbors. Had to switch the schools for my son, but it was still the same city, so I figured he'll end up still with a lot of those same kids when high school came around, or, out in the neighborhood or whatever. I wanted them to grow up in the same city, finish school with the same kids. So here, if they came out to the courtyard, their only way out would be this staircase. And I had also thought if they made this like a zigzag ramp down here, they could make a ramp and they'll be able to exit handicapped during an emergency. I'm disabled, I have trouble with my back and trouble walking and stuff, but there's people that are wheelchair bound, and it concerned me. And here's where they could have put a platform. But so from here, see, there's still no access for a wheelchair. And it would be the same in the back. So they wouldn't be able to get down to the parking garage if the elevators were not working. But it surprised me. See, right there is where you could put a pad and connect this to the bus station. Should be a better place for a Metro link. So they started talking about putting in a $2 billion project here. I don't know too much about it. I know my wife had mentioned it to me before she died. But see here, there's no way for someone to get out who's in a wheelchair. I'm sure some could, but it's not up to code, I wouldn't think. So how they ever let them build this, I'm not sure, and I've always been grateful and not complained about it. And if anybody ever needed my help getting out, of course, I would try to help them. But so those are the only... But I was aware that it didn't make much sense why they would build a brand new complex and make it so that it wouldn't fit the people that it was being marketed to, the low income, the disabled. And I was excited. There's a bike path right back here. They stole my bike the other day. The police didn't take a report. They refused to, but they stole my bicycle and my son's bicycle. But here's the gate to the bike path. And when we moved in, they started locking that for a while, and I did ask to have that opened up, and they have, but they put a lock on it and didn't give me the combination. There's also a thing in the front that they haven't given me the code to get in and out of the building, access code. And then just now when I went to go do laundry, they disabled all the laundry machines in the laundry room. But the investors, developers, code inspectors, or whatever they are, may be compliant, complacent, involved in a plot to push people out of here, possibly demolish the building or kill people inside for profit. They were poisoning or introducing something to the sprinkler system. So just concerned for us as well as others. There's some prowler going around with keys, possibly abducting people, maybe using rope ladders to get down from the upper floors. And I took a picture of them and reported it, but elevated security was here at that time at midnight. And the guy took a look at the picture, but didn't seem very interested, let the prowler go and walked off with them. And then, so their only way would be if they could get down here to the parking garage, but that would only be if the elevators were working. That would be their only way to exit the building during a fire or an emergency. So it took about 45 minutes for 911 to respond after I called that there was a person going around with keys at midnight saying they were building maintenance. And then right afterwards, my phone that I'd taken that on was stolen. So I've been burglarized repeatedly. And the new management company may be linked to terrorism. Somebody should look out into it. And then this new complex going up could be funded by some kind of insurance scam here at the exchange. And they may be trying to get rid of, exterminate, kill low-income people, low-income families, use the school system and DCSF system to abduct children or profit somehow from abuse. If anybody can help, my son Chevy Lloyd needs to come home. It's Christmas.